Hey everyone, this is Aaron from Noble Pig Games. I am one half of the company. The other guy, Theo, we are social distancing and he's probably at home sleeping. For the last few weeks, Theo and I have been stuck at home like a lot of you. We miss game night, we miss seeing friends, and so we decided that we wanted to make a game with resources you would have sitting at home. And so we've created a game with a single deck of cards called Dungeon Bounty. We want to share it with you, we want to make it accessible to you. Feel free to click on the link down below, download it, check out some of the artwork that's there, and hopefully have fun solo or with your friends. Alright, so Dungeon Bounty is a fast-paced hand management card game where you've been hired by a king to get rid of a bunch of creatures who've taken over some mining caverns. Let's do this. Alright, let's dive in. You can tell I just cut my nails. This is a little more difficult than it should be. Alright, we can get rid of those doodads. En français, s'il vous plaît. My French is rough. You're looking at a middle school French dropout right here. First things first, we need to extract all the hearts from the range of 1 to 10. Alright, we want to organize these hearts in consecutive order. These hearts are going to represent our strength. And it's about this point where we need to decide what level we want to start at. Beginner and intermediate, they're going to start at a level 5 strength. However, advanced and bloodlust, now they're going to start at lower levels so that the difficulty is increased. So we're going to play intermediate today. So we're going to start at level 5 strength. I'm going to take my 6 through 10 and I'm going to toss it behind there. This way, if I kill an enemy, I'm going to level up just by pulling from the back and dropping on top. And if I lose some of my strength to the enemy, I'm going to lower down to a 4. So starting at 5 in intermediate. Let's take a look at what these cards actually do before we dive into those caverns. So right off the bat here, I see a club. Now a club is a weapon. Makes sense. Clubs are weapons. You can hit things with a club. I have 2 locations on my mat where I can equip these club cards, my weapons. So let's say that I have 2 of these filled, ready to go against an enemy. These right here, they're going to add up together in order to create an attack. My clubs here, my weapons, have a attack of 9. The rule is that you cannot equip a weapon that is greater than your strength. So really, if I were to lose some strength in a battle, all of a sudden this 5 drops down to a 4, I can no longer carry this weapon. I have to place it in the discard pile. Next up, diamonds. Diamonds are our gems. We're going to collect these, we're going to loot these as we go through the caverns, and we're going to use them to purchase more items from merchants. That's right, there's merchants in the caverns roaming around trying to loot things, picking up daggers off of dead bodies. But we're going to collect these as much as possible, because not only do we use them to actually buy stuff, we use them to enchant our weapons. So this 5, if I were to apply it to my 5 of clubs, I can place it on top, I can place it behind. I've now created an enchanted weapon. This means that my 5 is going to act as a 10 for as long as I carry that weapon. Now, gems also count towards your points at the end of the game. I'm going to count all of my bounties, all the creatures that I've defeated for points, but I'm also going to count all of the gems that I have carried in my satchel. However, gems that are attached to weapons, they don't count. I cannot count that 5 in my final score. Spades. Now, spades are going to be our spell scrolls. We can collect as many of these as we want. You can see in the artwork, right, our little hero here, they've got a case full of scrolls that they can quickly grab and use. So these are actually one-off items. I can only use it once, and the value of this spell is actually the value that's right there. And these sit over here. There's one more function with the spades. Well, we saw how a gem can enchant a weapon. Well, a spade can curse a weapon, which means that it too can be applied to a weapon. Now, the beauty of this is that the math is a little bit greater, But the weakness is it's only a one-time use. So this right here, this spell is going to double in value. This 4 will become an 8, and that 8 will get added to my 4, which means I have a one-time attack of 12. After I use that attack, that 4 of spades then goes into the discard pile. Let's touch on one more weapon upgrade, and that's the volatile relic. If you can get a spade, a club, and a diamond of the same value, you can create a volatile relic. Now these are old, ancient, which means they are actually a one-time use, hence their volatility, but the math on these is beautiful. I'm going to add these up. 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15. I then get to multiply this by 2, which means this is a one-use attack of 30. But all 3 cards will go in the discard pile once I've used that attack. The Joker is going to represent the merchant. Whenever the merchant pops into these caverns, we're going to be able to buy from the discard pile any card we want for the face value of the gems we're carrying. So my 7, my 4, and my 3 is 14 that I can use to purchase from this discard deck. Now, you got to be careful because you're not always going to get perfect change. All right, the last thing you probably need to know before we jump into some of these caverns is the role of an ace. Now the aces, they may not look like much. Generally they count as a 1. However, you can use them in a different way. These aces are going to represent a blunted dagger, a dull gemstone, and a torn scroll. Now they might not look like much to the untrained eye, however these are able to clear a cavern. So if you are stuck, you've got a couple of creatures that are attacking you, you cannot defeat them, you can use one of your aces to send one or both of those creatures to the back of the dungeon deck, and hopefully you can gain enough strength to capture them the second time you see them. Let's talk about gameplay and the strength of our enemies. So how it works is this. The cavern pile is nice and neat in one location. We're going to see 2 cards pop out into our first cavern. Now the face cards are going to be the creatures. We have our jacks, our queens, and our kings. In level 1, that's the first time we go through this deck, the jacks are going to be worth 5, the queens are going to be worth 10, and the kings are going to be worth 15. However, in level 2, once we've gone through that deck once and reshuffle, we're going to see that all of the face value cards are going to double in base health. So my jacks are going to become 10, my queens are going to become a 20, and my kings are going to become 30. Now, difficulty increases as we go through these caverns, which means every single enemy that I've captured, that I've killed, that I've slain, choose your violent word of choice, for every enemy that we've slain, it's going to add 1 extra health to the enemy that is in the cavern. Now, in beginner, we don't look at those suits. However, in intermediate and up, we're actually going to look at those suits as special powers for those beasts. An enemy with a diamond is going to actually have health added to it based on the number of gems we're carrying. So if I'm being super greedy, I've got 10 gems sitting there in my pocket purse, satchel purse. Well, those 10 are going to add to the health of a diamond enemy. So if this is level 1, that queen has a health of 10, plus the gems, the 10 gems I'm carrying, means her health is 20. And I've got to muster up some serious attack in order to capture her. Let's swap out that queen for a king for a second. This king is a spade. Spades are going to weaken our spells, which means that this 10 is actually going to get cut in half. It's going to act only as a 5. So this has been weakened drastically by a spade enemy. So let's see what happens when we have a club. A club is going to do the same thing as a spade, however, it's going to weaken our weapons. It's going to cut the value of them in half. So you'll notice that I have 7 here. 7 divided by 2, 3.5. Well, that's weird. We have to round those up. So my half is actually going to be a 4. So I have a 4 from my weapons, but I also have a 10, which means I have an attack of 14 if I decide to use my spell. So an enemy with a heart is going to do double damage to my strength. If it isn't looting one of my other items, I have to reduce my strength by 2. Now, as a form of protective measure, you can actually sacrifice one of the items you're carrying in order to protect your strength. This jack having a health of 5 in level 1, I can actually give it my gems in order for me to escape unscathed. It will take those gems as well as the item beside it back into the dungeon. I cannot grab that loot because I did not defeat the enemy. And to be clear, any item you're carrying can be sacrificed to spare your strength. I think we're about ready to jump into these caverns, so let's give this a good shuffle. Ooh, I cannot shuffle. So, deck has been shuffled. Before we jump into our caverns, we're going to do something called scouting. Scouting is necessary in order to set up our first hand. We want to make sure that we have something going into these dungeons and that we're not going to get absolutely destroyed in the first 2 seconds. So scouting is going to allow us to pull up the first 5 cards. Alright, so I have a couple enemies. I definitely don't want to see them right off the bat. So when we're scouting, we are looking for a weapon that we can equip or a spell that we can use. The remaining cards, the ones that we aren't going to use, we have a choice. We can place them at the top of the deck or at the back. So these 2 enemies, I'm going to toss them at the back. Now I actually am not strong enough to equip that 6 of clubs. I can, however, take either of these 2 spells. So I'm going to set it up so that I take the 6. I'm going to place a 5 in my first cavern, so I know what those first 2 cards in the first cavern are going to be. So here we go, first 2 cards come off the top to create our first cavern. Well, we already saw them. I'm going to take that 5. So looting rules are, I can only take 1 card, the other card is discarded. And if an enemy is present, I cannot loot the item beside them until the enemy is destroyed. Alright, now do I want a gem or do I want to equip that ace? I'm going to take the ace just to use it for its special ability of sending enemies to the back of the dungeon deck. Perfect. Okay, 5 of clubs. I have the right amount of strength, which means I have a decent set of weapons here to use. Alright, so the first enemy is a Queen of Diamonds. To be clear, we are playing at intermediate level, which means I am looking at the diamond as a special power. So I'm actually kind of happy that I didn't take that 7 of diamonds from earlier because her health would be even higher. So I have my quick references here and I have my enemy health for level 1 just in case I need it. That queen in level 1 is a 10 to start off with. So right off the bat I see that I have 6 from my weapons. I have 11 from my spells when really I should curse my 5 of clubs with my 5 of spades plus my ace to make an attack of 16. So I have captured my first enemy. I'm going to place her over here. I'm going to level up. Feels good. And I'm actually going to be able to loot this 10. A strong spell. For a strong guy like myself. That was a total dad joke. Alright, so a king and an ace have appeared. A king of diamonds. I'm thankful that I didn't keep that diamond from earlier because then that'd be 1 extra health to it. But we know that I've captured 1 bounty already. So this king is actually going to be in level 1. 15 plus the 1 that I've captured already means 16 health. 16. Well, I'm at 6 here, plus my 10 from my spell is going to capture, kill, maim, destroy, obliterate that king. And now I level up again. Woohoo! Life is good when you're 7. And of course, I can loot that ace. Alright, 9 and 2. Do we want some gems in case a merchant shows up? Nah, who needs money when you've got spells? 5 and 4. I'm going to equip this 4. This is going to be a stronger weapon than this ace. Because I can only equip 2 weapons at once, this ace is going to be discarded. Hopefully I don't regret that. 9 and 9. Well, I cannot equip that 9. I'm not strong enough, so I definitely am going to take that diamond. Those enemies must be hiding at the back. 7 of clubs, ace of diamonds. Beautiful. Who doesn't love upgrading weapons? I can equip this because my strength is at a 7. That 4 gets discarded. And this ace goes in the discard as well. Ah, our first merchant. Time to purchase some goods. Now with merchants, you can actually loot right off the bat. So if you have a gem appear right next to the merchant, you can actually use that to purchase. Got a few different things we could go for here. Looking for some 7s. It'd be nice to maybe enchant that 7 to make it 14. I could curse a 5 to make it 15 for a one-time use. Could just buy a one-off spell, but we don't want to do that. Alright, I think I'm going to go for the enchantment on that 7. So, You don't always get perfect change when you're buying from the merchant. I've got 9 gems. Let's purchase that 7 to enchant my 7 weapon. Do I want to take the 2 and change, or do I want to take an ace? I think I am going to take the 2. Loot that spell. Next cavern. Alright, we're going to stop right there. I know a few of you are just getting right into that. And I want to thank you for sticking around this far if you are with me still. And if you aren't, I guess I could say whatever I want about you right now and you'd never know. But I'm not like that. I hope by this point you got a good feeling of what the game's like. If you want to continue on with me, I've split this up in half because who wants to watch 30 minutes of me do that? If you do, I love you. You're my best friend. All right, we split it in half because 30 minutes is a long video. And most people would just look at the 30 minutes and never watch it in the first place. The second half, we're going to keep going through that playthrough. I do amazing things, so you should definitely watch it. Just saying. There's also some awesome tidbits on co-op mode and versus. Because if you want to play with your friends via your favorite video conferencing app, well, then you definitely need to watch that second part. If you find that my videos are useless, feel free to click on the download link down below and download it. Check out some of that cool art. And let me know your high scores. I definitely want to compete against you. I want to compete against everyone. I want to win. I am obsessed with defeating you all and making you cry. Definitely too far. If you want to keep watching, definitely do, because this is a very interesting round. I'm not gonna lie. If not, download, play, have some fun with all of those creatures. I don't know how to say that without sounding creepy. YouTubey things. If you like this sort of stuff and you want to see what we create in the coming weeks, months, years, definitely follow along with us and do those things that you got to do in order to be notified when we do such things. Wow, that was really vague. Thanks for watching.